But, you know, you have done a significant number of roles that are in that vein of, you know, the biker, the cowboy, or the...
Sam Elliott doesn't act in Westerns. He lives them. While other actors fumble with plastic replicas, Elliott hand-selects museum-quality firearms that actually tame the frontier, and his distinctive voice made him famous, but his weapons made him immortal. Today, we're revealing the 11 legendary firearms that transform Sam Elliott from character actor into the definitive voice of the American West. Number 11. Colt Single Action Army, Blue River, 1995 at number 11. We have the foundation of every Sam Elliott Western. The Colt Single Action Army in Blue River represents Elliott's understanding that authenticity begins with respecting the tools that built the frontier. In this 1995 made-for-television Western, Elliott plays a former lawman protecting his family's ranch against claim jumpers and outlaws, and his choice of the peacemaker tells you everything about his character before he speaks a single word. The Single Action Army's .45 Colt chambering drives a 255-grain bullet through its 7.5-inch barrel at 860 feet per second, delivering 420 foot-pounds of bone-crushing energy. Weighing 2.5 pounds loaded with 6 rounds of frontier justice, this weapon demands deliberate intent from every man who draws it. Its single-action mechanism forces you to cock the hammer before each shot, making every trigger pull a conscious moral decision. There's no spray and pray with this iron, just calculated justice delivered at lethal velocity. Elliott's character in Blue River carries this revolver with the casual familiarity of a man who's worn it for decades. Watch his draw. There's no flash, no unnecessary movement, just the efficient motion of a professional who understands that speed means nothing if you miss. The way Elliott's hand finds a grip reveals muscle memory built over years of frontier survival. Between 1873 and 1941, Colt manufactured over 357,000 of these revolvers. But in Elliott's hands, each one becomes a unique extension of character rather than mere hardware. Blue River showcased Elliott's commitment to authentic Western storytelling, and his peacemaker became as much a part of his character as his distinctive mustache and gravelly voice. The revolver appears in several crucial confrontations where Elliott's measured draw and deliberate aim demonstrate that real gunfighters relied on accuracy over speed. Original Colt single-action Army revolvers from the 1870s through 1890s now command $8,000 to $25,000 at auction, depending on condition and provenance. Quality reproductions from manufacturers like Uberti or Cimarron run $800 to $1,500, making them accessible to serious collectors who appreciate frontier authenticity. This foundation leads us to Elliott's first lever action, rifle. Number 10, Henry Rifle, .44, rimfire, The Shadow Riders, 1982. At number 10, we have the rifle that changed everything. Sam Elliott's Henry Rifle in The Shadow Riders represents the weapon that Union forces called that damned Yankee rifle you load on Sunday and shoot all week. Elliott plays Dal Treven, a Confederate veteran who recognized that the war is over and survival requires embracing superior technology, regardless of which side manufactured it. The Henry rifle features a .44 rimfire chambering with a 24-inch octagonal barrel and the revolutionary 15-round tubular magazine that made it legendary. Original Henry rifles could fire 28 rounds per minute, delivering devastating firepower that changed Civil War tactics forever. Weighing 9.5 pounds fully loaded, this lever-action rifle provided repeating firepower that made single-shot opposition obsolete overnight. Elliott's character carries the Henry because he's a practical man who left his Confederate loyalties in the ashes of the war. The irony of a former rebel carrying Yankee iron adds depth to his character, while showcasing the weapon's undeniable effectiveness. The Shadow Riders used this rifle in several key scenes, where Elliott's character needed rapid follow-up shots during cavalry engagements and mounted combat. Here's what most viewers don't realize. The Henry rifle's ammunition fed through a tube under the barrel that required a special loading technique. Elliott trained extensively to master the weapon's unique reload procedure, demonstrating the kind of commitment to authenticity that separates legends from actors playing dress-up. The Henry's exposed magazine tube was its only weakness, making it vulnerable to damage during rough frontier use. Original Henry rifles now sell for $25,000 to $45,000, depending on condition and documented history. Modern reproductions from manufacturers like Uberti and Henry Repeating Arms run $900 to $1,400, allowing collectors to own a piece of Civil War firepower without mortgaging their homes. But Henry's innovation had competition. Number 9. Winchester Model, 1873, Conacher, 1991. Number 9 takes us to the rifle that earned its nickname,
I don't believe I know you. Name's Conacher.
the gun that won the West. Sam Elliott's Winchester Model, 1873 in Conacher, showcases why this lever-action rifle became the most famous firearm in American frontier history. Elliott plays Con Conacher, a weathered cowboy who understands that survival requires reliable tools over flashy innovation. Chambered in .44-40 Winchester, the Model 1873 drives a 200-grain bullet at 1,190 feet per second through its 24-inch barrel, delivering 630 foot-pounds of stopping power. The lever design provided rapid follow-up shots, while the tubular magazine held 15 rounds, giving frontier settlers overwhelming firepower advantages against any threat. Winchester manufactured over 720,000 Model 1873 rifles between 1873 and 1924, making it the most successful centerfire lever rifle in history. But numbers don't tell the whole story. The 1873's true genius lay in its ammunition compatibility. The same .44-40 cartridge worked in Winchester rifles and Colt revolvers, allowing frontiersmen to carry one caliber for all their firearms. Elliott's Conacher uses this rifle for everything from hunting to protection, exactly how real cowboys employed these weapons in the 1880s and 1890s. The film depicts the harsh realities of ranch life, where versatile firearms meant survival. Watch Elliott's handling. Every reload, every aim, every trigger press reflects decades of experience. This isn't acting. This is muscle memory translated to screen. The Winchester 1873's toggle link action proved so reliable that many original rifles still function flawlessly over a century later. Conacher featured the carbine variant with its shorter 20-inch barrel, providing better balance for mounted shooting while maintaining the rifle's legendary accuracy. Original Winchester Model 1873 rifles command $3,000 to $15,000, depending on configuration and condition, while quality reproductions from Uberti run $900 to $1,300. Next, we encounter a revolver that cavalry officers preferred over the famous Colt. Number 8. Remington, 1875, Army Revolver, Buffalo Girls, 1995. At number 8, we have the revolver that proved Remington could compete with Colt's dominance. Sam Elliott's Remington 1875 Army Revolver and Buffalo Girls represents a professional gunfighter's choice over marketing hype. Elliott plays Wild Bill Hickok in his final days, and his selection of the Remington demonstrates the kind of firearms knowledge that separates legends from pretenders. The Remington 1875 features a .45 Colt chambering through its 7.5-inch barrel, firing that proven 255-grain bullet at 860 feet per second for 420 foot-pounds of devastating energy. Weighing 2.7 pounds with a 6-round capacity, this single-action revolver combined Colt's proven cartridge with Remington's superior construction quality. The 1875's web under the barrel provided additional strength that Colt's design lacked, making it favored by serious gunfighters who needed reliability over recognition. Wild Bill Hickok actually carried various revolvers throughout his career, and Elliott's choice of the Remington for his final scenes reflects historical accuracy over Hollywood cliché. Buffalo Girls portrayed Hickok's declining years with brutal honesty, and the well-worn Remington became a visual metaphor for the aging gunfighter. Elliott's handling reveals a man who's carried this weapon so long it's become part of his body. The draw isn't fast anymore, but it's still deadly accurate because speed without precision gets you killed. Here's the surprising truth. The Remington 1875 was actually more accurate than comparable Colts due to its superior barrel-to-frame alignment and tighter manufacturing tolerances. Professional shooters recognize this advantage, even if the general public preferred Colt's brand recognition. Original Remington 1875, Army revolvers sell for $2,500 to $8,000, while modern reproductions from Uberti and Cimarron run $500 to $800, making them surprisingly affordable for collectors seeking authentic frontier iron. But revolvers have limitations that only massive firepower can overcome. Number 7. Colt Walker, Gettysburg, 1993. Brings us to the most powerful handgun of the black powder era. Sam Elliott's Colt Walker in Gettysburg represents the kind of devastating firepower that defined cavalry combat during the Civil War. Elliott plays Brigadier General John Buford, and his Walker revolver reflects the weapon choice of a professional soldier who understood that overwhelming force prevents violence better than it creates it. This wasn't just a sidearm. It was a statement about military dominance. The Colt Walker's .44 caliber chambering fires a 220 grain bullet at approximately 1,000 feet per second, generating 490 foot-pounds of energy. Weighing nearly 4.5 pounds and measuring over 15 inches long, this massive revolver was the magnum of its day. Samuel Colt designed it specifically for the U.S. mounted rifles, creating a weapon powerful enough to stop a charging horse or punch through cavalry breastplates at close range. Elliott's Buford carries the Walker during the critical first day at Gettysburg, when his cavalry division delayed Confederate advances long enough for Union infantry to occupy the high ground. The Walker's presence emphasizes Buford's experience and tactical wisdom. This isn't a weapon for amateurs. It requires strength to control and skill to employ effectively. The massive size and weight made it impractical for infantry, but mounted cavalry could carry it in saddle holsters, where its devastating power made the difference between victory and defeat. Only about 1,100 Walkers were originally manufactured between 1846 and 1847, making originals incredibly rare and historically significant. Most saw hard service in the Mexican-American War and subsequent frontier campaigns, with few surviving in collectible condition. Gettysburg used multiple Walker reproductions for the E-Audi cavalry scenes, and Elliott trained extensively to handle the massive revolver's substantial recoil. The Walker fired the most powerful black powder handgun cartridge until Magnum revolvers appeared a century later. That's not Hollywood exaggeration. That's documented ballistic fact, verified by period testing and modern recreation. Watch Elliott's scenes carefully. The Walker appears during moments requiring maximum authority, reinforcing Buford's command presence. When a general draws this monster, everyone understands the stakes. Original Colt Walker revolvers command $60,000 to $300,000 at auction, making them among the most valuable American firearms in existence. Quality reproductions from Uberti run $400 to $600. Now we move to Elliott's most famous role. Number 6. Smith & Wesson Schofield, Tombstone, 1993. At number 6 stands the revolver that proved U.S. cavalry officers knew their business. Sam Elliott's Smith & Wesson Schofield in Tombstone demonstrates why many considered this top-break revolver superior to the legendary Colt. Elliott plays Virgil Earp, Tombstone's marshal, and his choice of the Schofield reveals a lawman who values tactical advantages over tradition. The Schofield's .45 Schofield chambering fires a 230 grain bullet at 730 feet per second, delivering 270 foot-pounds of reliable stopping power through its 7-inch barrel. Weighing 2.5 pounds with a 6-round capacity, this revolver's true advantage wasn't raw power. It was speed under pressure. The revolutionary top-break design allowed simultaneous ejection of all 6 spent cartridges with one motion. While Colt users fumbled with loading gates and ejector rods, Schofield shooters could dump empties, reload, and snap the action shut in under 10 seconds. In a sustained gunfight, this speed advantage often proved fatal to your enemies. Elliott's Virgil Earp carries the Schofield during the famous street fight, and historical accuracy supports this choice. Virgil actually used various firearms, and the Schofield represents a professional lawman's practical selection. The U.S. Army purchased 8,285 Schofields between 1875 and 1877 after field testing proved their superiority. Tombstone's armorer obtained multiple Schofield reproductions for the Earp brothers, and Elliott's handling shows the weapon's tactical benefits. Watch the reload scenes. That distinctive top-rake action became visual shorthand for professional competence. The shorter .45 Schofield cartridge was specifically designed for reliable extraction, ensuring the mechanism functioned flawlessly under stress. Original Smith & Wesson Schofield revolvers command $3,000 to $12,000, depending on condition and military markings, while modern reproductions from Uberti run $900 to $1,400. Before we reveal the top 5 firearms that made Sam Elliott a legend, hit that like button if you're discovering the authentic weapons that built the definitive voice of the American West. Subscribe because we're about to show you the guns that transformed a character actor into the embodiment of frontier authority. Number 5. Winchester, 1866. Yellow Boy, The Quick and the Dead, 1995. At number 5, we have the rifle that brought industrial-age firepower to the frontier.
I forgive it.
Sam Elliott's Winchester, 1866. Yellow Boy in The Quick and the Dead represents the weapon that first gave cowboys repeating rifle capability. Elliott plays a battle-hardened gunfighter in this stylized Western, and his Yellow Boy reflects a man who embraced technological superiority when it mattered most. The model 1866's 44 Henry rimfire chambering pushes a 200-grain bullet at 1,125 feet per second through its 24-inch octagonal barrel, creating 560 foot-pounds of stopping power, weighing 9 1/4 pounds with a 15 to 17-round tubular magazine. This lever-action rifle gave repeating devastation that made single-shot opposition obsolete overnight. The distinctive brass frame gave the 1866 its Yellow Boy nickname and provided better corrosion resistance in harsh alkali dust and extreme temperature changes of the Southwest. Winchester manufactured nearly 170,000 Yellow Boys between 1866 and 1898, making it the bridge between the Henry rifle and the famous Model 1873. Elliott's character uses the Yellow Boy during several gunfight sequences, and the choice reflects frontier authenticity. By the 1890s setting of the film, the 1866 would have been considered dated, but still deadly effective. A skilled marksman with a Yellow Boy could outshoot opponents carrying newer, but less familiar weapons. Elliott's handling demonstrates that professional competence trumps cutting-edge technology. The Quick and the Dead emphasized visual style over strict realism, but Elliott insisted on authentic firearms handling. Watch his reload technique. Every motion reflects genuine expertise, rather than Hollywood approximation. The 1866's loading gate on the right side of the receiver required specific technique that Elliott mastered through extensive training. Here's what collectors need to know. Original Winchester 1866 rifles command $8,000 to $30,000 depending on condition and configuration, while quality reproductions from Uberti run $900 to $1,300, offering authentic frontier firepower at reasonable prices. But lever-action rifles serve different purposes than precision handguns. Number 4. Colt Peacemaker with 7.5-inch barrel, Conager, 1991. Number 4 returns us to Conager, but this time we're examining Sam Elliott's sidearm choice. The Colt Peacemaker with 7.5-inch barrel represents the perfect balance of power and accuracy for a professional cowboy. Elliott's Conager carries this specific configuration because he's a man who needs one tool that does everything right. The Peacemaker's .45 Colt chambering drives that proven 255-grain bullet through its extended barrel at 870 feet per second, delivering 425 foot-pounds of energy with superior accuracy. The additional barrel length over the standard 4 3/4-inch model provided an extra 2 3/4 inches of sight radius, dramatically improving precision at extended ranges. Weighing 2.6 pounds with a 6-round capacity, this configuration became the frontier standard for working cowboys who needed their sidearm for both protection and practical ranch work. The longer barrel reduced muzzle flip and felt recoil, allowing faster, more accurate follow-up shots. Conager depicted realistic cowboy life where weapons served practical purposes rather than dramatic gunfights. Elliott's character treats his Peacemaker like a professional tool rather than a symbol. Watch how he carries it. The holster sits high on his hip for riding comfort, not low for quick draw speed. This is authenticity over Hollywood fantasy. Real cowboys spent 16 hours in the saddle, and comfort mattered more than looking dangerous. Louis L'Amour wrote the novel Connier with meticulous frontier detail, and Elliott's film adaptation maintained that authenticity. The 7.5-inch barrel was actually the most popular configuration among working cowboys because it provided rifle-like accuracy for dispatching predators and hunting game while remaining portable enough for daily carry. Connier featured multiple scenes showcasing the peacemaker's versatility, from long-range shooting at coyotes to close-quarters defense. Elliott's handling reflects decades of experience translated to character. The deliberate aim, the careful trigger press, the immediate holster after firing, these details separate authentic Western films from generic shootouts. Original Colt peacemakers with 7.5-inch barrels command $10,000 to $30,000, depending on condition and period of manufacture, while modern reproductions from Colt's custom shop run $2,000 to $3,000, with Uberti reproductions available for $800 to $1,200. Next, we encounter a revolver that combined reliability with devastating power. Number 3. Remington Model 1858. New Army, The Desperate Trail, 1994. At number 3, we have the percussion revolver that proves solid frame construction superiority, Sam Elliott's Remington Model 1858. New Army in The Desperate Trail represents the weapon choice of a man who values reliability over flash. Elliott plays Marshal Bill Speaks, and his Remington reflects a lawman's practical wisdom, earned through hard experience. The 1858's .44 caliber chambering fires a 220-grain bullet at approximately 800 feet per second, delivering 312 foot-pounds of stopping power. Weighing 2 3/4 pounds with a 6-round capacity, this cap-and-ball revolver featured solid frame construction that made it stronger and more accurate than Colt's open-top designs of the same era. The Remington's top strap over the cylinder prevented the frame flex that affected Colt's accuracy under sustained firing. Many shooters considered the 1858 the most accurate percussion revolver ever manufactured. During the Civil War, the U.S. government purchased over 130,000 Remington revolvers, and many continued frontier service long after the war ended through conversion to metallic cartridges. Elliott's Marshal Speaks carries his 1858 with the casual confidence of a man who's tested its reliability in life-or-death situations. The Desperate Trail depicted the transition period when percussion and cartridge firearms coexisted on the frontier. Speaks' choice of the older technology demonstrates that smart lawmen trusted proven tools over the latest innovations. The film featured several intense gunfight sequences where Elliott's percussion revolver faced more modern weapons. The 1858's accuracy and reliability proved that frontier combat depended more on shooter skill than equipment advantages. Elliott trained extensively with black powder revolvers to achieve authentic handling, including the complex loading procedure requiring powder, ball, and percussion caps. Here's what makes the 1858 special. Its interchangeable cylinder system allowed prepared shooters to carry spare loaded cylinders, effectively creating a 19th century speed reload. Elliott's character employs this technique during a critical scene, demonstrating professional-level firearms expertise. Original Remington Model 1858 New Army revolvers sell for $1,500 to $5,000, depending on condition and military markings, while quality reproductions from Pieta and Uberti run $250 to $400, making them accessible to black powder enthusiasts. But sometimes modern situations require modern solutions. Number 2. Colt 1878 Double Action Tombstone 1993. Number 2 returns us to Tombstone, revealing Sam Elliott's tactical evolution. The Colt 1878 double-action revolver represents Virgil Earp's professional adaptation to the realities of frontier law enforcement. Elliott's selection of this advanced revolver demonstrates that legendary lawmen embraced innovation when it provided tactical advantages. The 1878 chambers, the same .45 Colt cartridge as the single-action Army, firing that proven 255-grain bullet at 860 feet per second through its 7.5-inch barrel for identical 420 foot-pounds of stopping power. But at 2.4 pounds with a 6-round capacity, The 1878's game-changing advantage lay in its dual-action trigger system. This revolutionary design allowed two firing methods. Traditional single-action mode required manually cocking the hammer for maximum accuracy, while double-action mode enabled firing simply by pulling the trigger. This wasn't sentiment, it was survival science. The double-action capability eliminated the fatal delay of manually cocking the hammer during chaotic street arrests or ambushes. Elliott's Virgil Earp carries this advanced revolver because he's a professional who studied violence and chosen his tools accordingly. Between 1878 and 1905, Colt manufactured over 51,000 1878s, but the model never achieved the fame of its single-action predecessor. Professional gunfighters recognized its advantages even if the general public preferred traditional designs. Tombstone's armorer worked with Elliott to ensure authentic handling of the 1878's unique characteristics. Watch his gunfight scenes carefully. The double-action trigger pull requires different technique than single-action shooting. Elliott mastered both methods, demonstrating the kind of dedication that transforms actors into authentic Western icons. The 1878's advanced trigger system provided tactical flexibility, single-action mode for precise long-range shots, double action for rapid close-quarters defense. Virgil Earp's choice reflects a lawman who understood that street fights rarely allowed time for careful aim. Sometimes you needed to get rounds on target immediately, and accuracy came second to speed. Here's the collector reality. Original Colt 1878 double-action revolvers command $2,000 to $8,000 depending on condition and barrel length, while modern reproductions are virtually unavailable, making originals the only option for serious collectors seeking this revolutionary design. But even advanced revolvers pale compared to the rifle that defined Sam Elliott's frontier authenticity. Number 1. Sharps 1874 Rifle Rough Riders 1997. Here stands the firearm that made Sam Elliott's frontier authenticity legendary. The Sharps 1874 rifle and Rough Riders represents the absolute pinnacle of 19th century precision shooting technology. Elliott plays Major General Joseph Fighting Joe Wheeler, and his Sharps rifle reflects a military commander who understood that superior marksmanship won battles before they started. The Sharps 1874's 4570 government chambering fires a 405 grain bullet at 1,350 feet per second through its 30-inch barrel, delivering 1,640 foot-pounds of devastating energy at the muzzle. This single-shot falling block rifle weighed 9.5 pounds and delivered minute-of-angle accuracy at ranges exceeding 1,000 yards when wielded by skilled marksmen. The Sharps rifle was the legendary tool of buffalo hunters who harvested millions of bison across the Great Plains. Professional hunters like Billy Dixon made documented kills at ranges approaching 1,500 yards. Shots that seemed impossible but were verified by military observers. The rifle's precision barrel and falling block action provided rock-solid lockup for consistent accuracy. Elliott's General Wheeler carries the Sharps during the Spanish-American War sequences, and the choice reflects both historical accuracy and tactical wisdom. Wheeler was a Confederate cavalry officer who rejoined military service during the war with Spain. His selection of the proven Sharps over newer magazine rifles demonstrates professional confidence in established technology. Rough Riders depicted the 1898 campaign in Cuba with surprising authenticity, including period-correct firearms. Elliott trained extensively with the Sharps rifle to achieve realistic handling for the filming. The single-shot design required deliberate shooting technique. Each shot mattered because reloading took precious seconds. This enforced discipline that made Sharp shooters legendarily accurate. Here's what separates the Sharps from other rifles. Its tang-mounted vernier sight allowed precise elevation adjustments for extreme long-range shooting. Professional buffalo hunters could compensate for bullet drop at 700, 800, even 1,000 yards. Elliott's training included mastering these sophisticated sights, demonstrating commitment to authenticity that most actors never attempt. The falling block action used a lever-operated breech block that dropped down to expose the chamber. This design provided strength that allowed the Sharps to handle the most powerful cartridges of its era. The 4570 government round remained in military service from 1873 through the early 1900s, seeing action from Little Bighorn to San Juan Hill. Rough Riders featured several scenes showcasing the Sharps rifle's capabilities, and Elliott's handling reflects genuine expertise rather than Hollywood approximation. Watch his shooting position. The proper stance, the breath control, the smooth trigger press. These details reveal an actor who respected the weapon enough to master its operation. Original Sharps. 1874 rifles command $8,000 to $25,000 depending on condition, configuration, and documented history. Custom reproductions from Shiloh Rifle Manufacturing and C. Sharps Arms run $2,500 to $5,000, offering authentic buffalo hunting accuracy for modern shooters who demand the ultimate in black powder precision. The Sharps rifle in Sam Elliott's hands represents everything that made frontier marksmanship legendary. This wasn't about rapid fire or high capacity. This was about making the one shot that mattered at ranges where your enemies couldn't even see you. That's not just shooting. That's battlefield domination through superior skill and superior tools. Sam Elliott's Western firearms reveal a truth that Hollywood rarely understands. Authenticity isn't about carrying the most famous gun or the fastest draw. It's about respecting the tools that shaped American history and honoring the men who wielded them with deadly purpose. From the foundational Colt single-action army to the legendary Sharps rifle, each weapon Elliott carries reflects character, competence, and the kind of professional wisdom that only comes from genuine respect for frontier heritage. Elliott succeeds where other actors fail because his distinctive voice and commanding presence demand authentic firearms to match. He doesn't just carry these weapons. He becomes their living embodiment, transforming steel and lead into instruments of frontier justice. Whether playing a Confederate veteran who embraced Yankee innovation or a legendary lawman who valued tactical advantages over tradition, Elliott's weapon choices always serve character over spectacle. From the Shadow Riders in 1982 through Rough Riders in 1997 and beyond, Sam Elliott's commitment to firearms authenticity